reason you're not getting the fights is not because Islam's scared. It's not because he's injured. It's not because Ilya's scared. Cut all the bullshit. They're the two of the greatest fighters, pound for pound number one, pound for pound number two. No one's scared of anybody. They want to fight each other, but they want to be compensated. Ilya's manager got a call on Thursday night at midnight. And they go, we want Islam versus Ilya at the White House. His manager goes, cool, we want this much money. UFC said, no, we're not going to pay that much money. Went, cool, then there's not much to talk about. They go, who can we call who will agree to this bullshit budget we're trying to propose? Call up Justin Gaethje. He goes, yep, I'm in. They call Ilya's manager again. He goes, okay, you're asking too much for Islam. How about Justin Gaethje? He goes, all right, we'll do it for that. That's how that goes down.
You said that you're ready to go up a division. There's a tweet from Ilya Topuria that he can go up the weight and he can beat you with no problem. What do you think about that?
Не знаю, еще столько соперников, и все хотят меня там в первом, во втором раунде финишировать. Все говорят об этом, но я же сказал, сделайте 70 килограмм, заходите в клетку и посмотрим, кто кого финиширует.
There's all these opponents, they all say they want to finish me in the first or second round. I already said, if you can make 155, you can get into the cage. Let's talk about it then.
Who do you think wins if Islam and Topuria fight?
I hope it's gonna happen. It's gonna be a tough fight for Ilya, for sure. Ilya make you either shoot him, which is he will stop, or no, Islam has to strike with him, and then striking, we all know that how Ilya fights and how dangerous he is and how knockout power he have. So it's gonna be a tough fight for Ilya for sure, like every fight is, but I believe he can finish Islam Makhachev.
So let's talk about the chaos unfolding right now between Ilya Topuria and Islam Makhachev, because this situation has officially gone off the rails. What started as a potential super fight has now turned into a full-blown war of words. From Topuria's side, the accusation is crystal clear. He believes Islam avoided the fight. According to him, an injury suddenly appeared right when things were about to be finalized. In his view, it wasn't bad luck, it was an excuse. Now, before jumping to conclusions, it's important to understand something. In MMA, especially at the highest level, there are always multiple layers behind every fight negotiation. Contracts, timing, injuries, business decisions. None of it is ever as simple as fans see on the surface. But Topuria isn't holding back at all. He's been going at Islam relentlessly, making it very clear that he wants only the biggest fights possible. And from a career standpoint, that makes sense. He's rising fast, headlining events, and trying to position himself as the next global superstar. Then things escalated. Topuria took to social media and essentially accused Islam of pulling out at the last second. He painted a picture where everything was lined up, the fight, the announcement, the moment, and then suddenly, it all collapsed overnight because of an injury. Frustration like that doesn't stay quiet, and it didn't. The situation quickly turned personal. Managers got dragged into it, insults started flying, and what could have been simple promotional trash talk turned into something much messier. But then came the response. Islam fired back. And he didn't just deny the accusations, he flipped the narrative completely. According to him, Topuria is the one hiding behind talk, using social media to create a version of events that benefits him. He made it clear that he's not afraid, not backing down, and that if the fight happens, it won't be on Topuria's terms, it'll be on his. At this point, it becomes a classic fight game scenario. Two elite fighters, two completely different stories, and the truth sitting somewhere in between. Now let's address the biggest claim here: fear. Is Islam Makhachev scared? Realistically, no. Fighters at this level don't operate on fear the way people think. This is a man who has fought the best in the world and built his reputation at the very top of the sport. The idea that he would simply chicken out doesn't align with how elite fighters are wired. That doesn't mean fights don't fall apart. They do, all the time. Injuries, timing issues, negotiations, these things happen constantly behind the scenes. But calling it fear, that's more about hype than reality. And speaking of hype, that's exactly what Topuria is generating right now. This is smart business. Because while all this drama is happening, there's another fight that actually matters in the present moment: his confirmed matchup with Justin Gaethje. And that fight is no joke. Gaethje is one of the most dangerous fighters in the division. Explosive, unpredictable, and known for absolute wars inside the octagon. This isn't just another opponent, this is a serious test. At the same time, Topuria is going into that fight with extreme confidence. He's already talking like the outcome is guaranteed, like it's just a matter of how quickly he finishes the job. That kind of confidence can either make a superstar or backfire badly. Because Gaethje is not someone you overlook. So now we're in a very interesting position. On one side, you've got a rising star in Topuria, building hype, calling out the biggest name possible, and trying to force a mega fight into existence. On the other side, you've got Makhachev, an established, dominant champion who isn't entertaining the narrative being pushed against him. And in the middle of all this, a fight that could change everything. Because if Topuria goes out there and delivers a statement win against Gaethje, the pressure for a showdown with Islam becomes massive. At that point, it's no longer just talk, it becomes the fight everyone demands. But if he loses, all this momentum, all this noise, it disappears overnight. That's the reality of this sport. So right now, the drama is loud, the accusations are wild, and the tension is building. But in the end, none of it matters unless these guys step into the cage. Because that's where everything gets settled. And if this fight between Topuria and Makhachev ever does happen, it won't need trash talk. It'll sell itself.
Without firing back with both barrels, and brother, did he ever fire back. Of course, this whole thing devolves into a classic case of he said, she said, and the truth is, we don't really know what the actual situation is behind closed doors. The UFC doesn't always share every detail of contract negotiations, medical issues, or scheduling conflicts with the public, but I'll give you my analysis of the situation in just a second because there's definitely more to unpack here. First, let's look at Islam's response to these accusations because it's pretty spicy in its own right. He came back at Topuria with this message and you can feel the anger radiating off the screen. He said, "We both know who chickened out here. You can cover your cowardice with nasty tweets, but don't worry, because one day you're gonna get what you asked for. And your fat-ass manager don't have to ask for billions to fight me. We'll do it for free." Now that's an interesting response on multiple levels, and it raises several questions that we need to examine carefully. First question that immediately comes to mind, do you really genuinely think Islam Makhachev is scared of Ilia Topuria? I'm going to give you my honest assessment here, and I'm going to say absolutely not. No way, not a chance. Let me tell you something important about fighters at this elite level. These guys don't get scared of fighting other men, period. That's just not how their brains are wired after years and years of training and competition. Yes, on the night before a big fight, when you're making that walk to the octagon, when you're standing behind that curtain, waiting for your music to hit, when someone's counting down 3, 2, 1, and your entrance music starts playing and you're about to step out in front of thousands of screaming fans, sure, there could be some doubts creeping into your mind. There could be some anxiety about winning and losing, about what happens if things go wrong, about the weight of expectations and legacy, but that's not fear of fighting, that's performance anxiety, which is completely different. These guys aren't scared to get into a fistfight, okay? They are literally born and bred to do exactly that. It's in their DNA, it's what they've trained their entire lives to do. And both Ilia Topuria and Islam Makhachev are absolutely amazing fighters at the peak of their powers. So this idea that Islam is scared, I'm not buying it for a second, and I don't think you should either. Another question that keeps popping up throughout this whole mess is why are the managers getting absolutely shit on here? Like seriously, they're catching major strays in this beef, and it's kind of hilarious when you step back and look at it. That's Topuria's manager getting called fat, and the guy even responded on Twitter with something like, "Whoa, damn bro, I've lost 40 pounds. Why is Ali still calling me fat?" Which is actually pretty funny when you think about it. And of course, that comment is a reference to the possibility, and this is pure speculation, that it might not even be Islam who actually wrote that tweet. It could very well be his manager, Ali Abdelaziz, who's known for being extremely active on social media and defending his fighters aggressively. Ali's been involved in so much drama over the years, it's almost become part of his brand at this point. So maybe one day, and this would be absolutely hilarious, Ali and Maliki Kawa, who are two of the biggest and most powerful managers in the entire MMA space, should just jump in the ring themselves and settle this like men. Maybe they could box each other like some kind of manager showdown, similar to how Dana White has talked about settling beefs in the past. You know what I'm saying? That would be entertainment gold right there. I'd definitely pay to watch that spectacle unfold. But let's shift gears and talk about what actually matters here, the real fights that have actual implications for the sport. First thing first, and this is crucial to understand, the fight that should happen, and is thankfully actually happening, is Ilia Topuria versus Justin Gaethje. That's the fight we need to focus on right now. Not this hypothetical Islam matchup that may or may not ever materialize. Never mind Islam Makhachev for a moment. Just put him out of your mind completely. I know that fight between Topuria and Islam would be absolutely tremendous, and we would all love to see that clash of styles and personalities happen inside the octagon. I would personally love to see them finally settle this beef that Topuria has really started and continued to fuel by constantly going after Islam on social media. And I get it, I understand the strategy completely. That's what you've got to do in this game to get ahead. You've got to talk shit, you've got to talk big and bold, you've got to try and generate hype and buzz to get the biggest fights possible, because ultimately you want to get in the sport, make some serious money, and get out as fast as possible with your health intact and your bank account full. Like Conor McGregor famously said back in the day, right? Get in, get rich, get out. That's the blueprint for success in this sport, and Topuria is following that playbook to perfection. I mean, just look at the absolutely incredible run that this man is on right now. It's genuinely remarkable when you break it down fight by fight. By the way, if Topuria actually manages to knock out Justin Gaethje at the White House event, and I say this with all due respect to Justin Gaethje, who's an absolute warrior and legend of the sport, there's a legitimately good chance that knockout happens because the punching power that Topuria possesses is just on a completely different level. It really is something special that separates him from almost everyone else in the division. And let's be real for a second, Justin Gaethje got cracked and hurt by Paddy Pimblett multiple times in exchanges, so we know he's hittable, we know he's willing to stand and trade, and we know he's been knocked out before. You never know what's going to happen when that cage door closes, and I'm definitely not counting out Justin completely.